Have you ever played fantasy football with someone who took a lot of risk during the draft? Maybe they thought it made them look cool or whatever the reason was. Well, in fantasy football, you gotta limit risk, and sometimes you just need to take the safe pick, like some of these safer running backs in 2022.
Look at that. Don't you want to just hold it all close to your body, Hot, sweaty.
Dude, Matt, what are you doing?
Yo, man, come on. This is your year. Come get your 2022 fantasy football draft guide right now on thefantasyheadliners.com.
Hey, yo, man, I just want to hold it. Can I hold it for a second?
What is going on, Headline Nation? Jake, Fantasy Headliners. Hopefully everybody's doing well out there today. We're talking about how to find some of these safer running backs in 2022 fantasy football. Risk is cool. Risk is fun, but sometimes, especially in the early rounds, we got to have a good mixture of safety and risk, so we're not kind of betting the farm on week one right after our draft. Now, before we get into all the important metrics and how we're going to be breaking this down today, I got some draft guides to give away because you guys have been hitting your like goals. For the last two videos, we have the best draft and what if everyone is wrong videos that I have done. Got 3 winners from those 2 videos. Hiveboy999, Carnage, and Demetrius Williams. Congratulations, already reached out to them to get them their free draft guide. But now I need to set a like goal for this video, right? What are we doing on this video? Because I honestly think this video is going to be a straight banger today, so we need a banger of a giveaway. How about a signed Dalvin Cook jersey? Maybe we hear about Dalvin Cook here today. Anybody interested in that? Maybe you're sitting there going, but Jake, dude, like Dalvin Cook, but he just changed his number. I don't really want to add something to my collection that has an old number because it's outdated. Come on. We got the new number 4 right here from our friends at PristineAuction.com. Make sure, head over to PristineAuction.com, sign up for a free account. Doesn't cost you anything. Use referral code HEADLINERS and you're entered in to all of our giveaways. What is the like goal going to be, though? We're setting it, because it's a banger of a jersey, at 1,500 likes. If I can get 1,500 likes on this video, I'll give away that jersey to a random comment down below if we can hit our 1,500 like goal. But now it's time to dive into the important metrics that we're going to be talking about here today. And this is what we're going with here today, and I'll give you the reasons as to why. Number 1 should be pretty self-explanatory. It's average games played. We obviously want guys who are on the field every single week and healthy. When they're on the field, how many average touches are they getting per game? When they're getting those touches, how far are they going? Their average yards per touch, and then fantasy points per game. That's what we play this game for, right? It's to score fantasy points. We need fantasy points, so let's look how many points per game they're scoring on average. And then lastly, ADP. Kind of like with society, right? Everybody wants the most they can possibly get, and they want to pay the cheapest price for it. Fantasy football, no difference. Looking to see who's the best value in ADP. So what I did is not just select a handful of guys to talk about. I went and grabbed the top 35 overall running backs and included them in this video. I did not include rookies. Why? Because they have yet to play an NFL snap, and I can't tell you how safe they're going to be in the NFL based off of old analytics if they have none. So they are not here. So what I did is I took each one of these running backs and I scored them in each one of the metrics listed above. That's going to kind of give us an overall picture of some safe running back options here in 2022. I scored each one of these guys from 1 to 35 in each metric, just trying to give us an overall final standings list of some safe options. Now, obviously, we know some of the big names are going to be at the top of the list, and that's okay, right? But we're trying to find out who else falls in the same categories as those big names that we can get at a cheaper price. So let's go ahead and dive into the first metric here, which is average games played. And for all these metrics, I tried to use a 3-year average. Obviously, some of these guys haven't played in the NFL for 3 years, so if they played for 2 years, I used a 2-year average. If they were rookies last year, sorry, no averages, just 2021 totals to kind of see where they fell. For average game played, not a lot of surprises, I don't think, here. Obviously, the young guys, Najee Harris, Javonte Williams, didn't miss a game. They're up there at 17. How about Elijah Mitchell last year, rookie? Rookie season, great overall season, surprised a lot of people, only played 11 games. Damian Harris's average sitting right around 12.5. James Conner at 12.7. Derrick Henry's average really dropped after last year down to 13. Same for Dalvin Cook. He's kind of one of those guys that misses a game or two every single year, sitting just under 14 games. Austin Eckler at 14. Playoff Lenny, Lombardi Lenny, Fat Lenny, whatever you want to call Leonard Fournette, sitting at 14 games as well. Same with Josh Jacobs at 14.3. And then we go up from there. Obviously, this is pretty straightforward. We know we want guys that are going to be on the field the most. So let's go down to average touches per game. Remember, we're looking at averages for as long as we can, hopefully some 3-year averages for most of these guys, but like I said, can't do that if they haven't played in the league for 3 years. You see right out there at the top, though, Derrick Henry, Christian McCaffrey, Dalvin Cook, Najee Harris, Jonathan Taylor, Joe Mixon, and Elijah Mitchell all sitting above 20 touches per game. That's enough to severely excite me in fantasy football. I'm looking personally for 18 plus, right? If I start off a draft and I can grab 3 running backs that are in that 18 plus category, what am I starting off my week? I got to do math here. So 18 times 3 is what, 54 touches a week that I know I'm going to get on average from those 3 spots, from my 2 running backs and a flex. That's a lot of touches. You can't score fantasy points if you're not touching the football, so 18 is kind of where I try to really focus if I can. But as you can see by this list, very few guys out there averaging that amount of touches every single week. You see Nick Chubb sitting right there at 18.8, followed by Saquon Barkley at 17.8, Leonard Fournette at 17.2, Antonio Gibson 16.9. Antonio Gibson should be way higher, but we all know that Ron Rivera hates your fantasy team. Some surprises here. Kareem Hunt, pretty efficient, right? Scoring fantasy points, but only getting 13 touches per game. A.J. Dillon doing the same thing. Solid last season, 13 touches per game. Then we got Miles Sanders at 14.6. Would love to see Miles Sanders reach up towards that 18 mark. Don't think that really happens, though, because Nick Sirianni is just another head coach that does not care about your fantasy team. Then we see some super efficient guys right here at the top of column 2. Aaron Jones, Austin Eckler, both sitting right around 16 or so. I don't mind that when the efficiency is there like it is for those guys. Now, how about average yards per touch? So now we know how many touches they're getting. How many yards are they getting? And holy Rashad Penny, we kind of knew this, right? 6.4. Now, J.K. Dobbins did not play last year, but the year prior, 6.1. J.K. Dobbins is a name that a lot of people are kind of forgetting about. And yes, there is some risk here with Dobbins, so we're not going to dive too far into it because he is coming off of a torn ACL. But dude, if this guy is healthy, could be a league winner for some people. Just throwing it out there. Austin Eckler, we know, super efficient, sitting at 6, followed by Jonathan Taylor, Nick Chubb, Miles Sanders, Cordero Patterson, and Chase Edmonds at 5.7. The cutoff here for me, I really want to be 5 plus. Preferably 6 plus, but that's just me being greedy. Remember, receptions are included in these totals, not just carries. That's why it's yards per touch and not yards per attempt. So anything over 5, pretty solid picks, right? Because we know on average they touch the football, they're getting us right around 5 yards, 2 touches in a series, first down, plays continue, they continue to get touches. So we're really focused on anything over 5 plus. A little bit surprised to see the likes of Ezekiel Elliott, Josh Jacobs, James Conner, Melvin Gordon kind of slitting down there in that high 4 range. But the thing with those guys is, sure, their average yards per touch aren't very high, but their usage is, right? So they're getting more touches now as the years progress. It's kind of helping their numbers out a little bit. How about average fantasy points per game now? And right at the top, we said it earlier, right? With Christian McCaffrey, if this dude plays, he performs. He's averaging over the last 3 years 25.9 fantasy points in games that he plays. That's a huge number, right? Every single week. That is nuts. Derrick Henry sitting at 21. Alvin Kamara at 20.4. The reception's really helping out Alvin Kamara. Dalvin Cook at 20.3. Same goes for him. Jonathan Taylor, that number could increase if we look at these numbers again next year. Austin Eckler, Aaron Jones, Najee Harris, Ezekiel Elliott, Nick Chubb, Joe Mixon, all over 16. Now, here's the thing that I'm really noticing with fantasy football lately, and maybe you're noticing it in your own home leagues too. I see it in the comment section all the time. Oh, well, this guy underperformed. He only got me right around 14, 15 fantasy points. This is a different time. This is a different game. There are very, very few running backs every single week that are going to explode and have those huge numbers. We have to start lowering expectations overall for the position because there aren't going to be the amount of people every week that we want to go out there and score 20 plus fantasy points. There's a reason these guys are drafted in the first round of drafts. It's because they have this potential upside. But if you're looking at a player that scores 15 and you're disappointed in that every single week, you need to reevaluate your thought process when it comes to fantasy football, because this isn't the same game that it was 5 years ago, 8 years ago, 10 years ago. 15 fantasy points a game now for a running back is top tier. You're hoping to land a couple of those guys because there's running back by committees all over the place. Do any of these other numbers really stand out to you? Pretty average. Saquon Barkley only at 12.6. He's been a huge disappointment because he can't stay healthy. Javonte Williams, 12.1. We all expect more touches, more fantasy points. Can we get Javonte more touches? His teammate right above him, Melvin Gordon, up there at 13.5. So who really knows? Now, who can we get for the cheapest? Average draft position. And here we go. Ramondre Stevenson, the cheapest option with an ADP of 100th overall. So as you can see, this graph goes backwards. The cheapest guy right here on the top, followed by Michael Carter, Chase Edmonds, Melvin Gordon, Cordero Patterson, Rashad Penny, Tony Pollard. You may be seeing some of these guys at the top of this list, man. That ain't sexy. Remember, safe isn't always sexy, but you have to have a good amount of safety on your roster, and then you kind of just sprinkle in the risk, right? Me, personally, I always follow this rule. 3 out of every 4 of my picks in a draft are going to be safer guys. I'll take one risk every 4 rounds because by the end of the draft, I'm probably going to have 3 or 4 guys on my roster that have some risk with some upside. But then if they don't pan out, my entire roster isn't just so dependent on that I'm absolutely tanked. So that's kind of how I look at things every single year. When you go down here, we obviously know the guys like Najee, Mixon, Chubb, DeAndre Swift, Javonte, Alvin Kamara, Aaron Jones, even Saquon Barkley. They're all picked in the top 2 rounds. So obviously we want to try to get some guys with some value. So what I've done here is I've taken each one of these metrics. Like I said, I've scored them 1 through 35 in each category. And when I did that, the overall totals fell like this for your top 12. So according to these metrics, in this order, these are the safest options, but don't comment down below. Yeah, I have more to go here. The safest options for 2022. We got Alvin Kamara, Dalvin Cook, Jonathan Taylor, Cordero Patterson, Zeke, Aaron Jones, Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs, Christian McCaffrey, Melvin Gordon, Nick Chubb, and Najee Harris. Now, before I go further into that list, because yes, there is more to add to that, because now we need to look forward to 2022, here's the overall standings of 1 through 35 when we're looking at safety. Is it a shock that the last 3 names are Saquon Barkley, J.K. Dobbins, and Cam Akers? Really shouldn't be because there's a lot of risk associated with those guys. Javonte Williams, he's getting hammered because of the return of Melvin Gordon. But at the top of the list here, just after the 12th overall guy, Najee Harris, Elijah Mitchell falls into place, followed by Austin Eckler, Miles Sanders, Leonard Fournette, David Montgomery. So let's go back to our top 12 overall here because like I said, it's a different year, right? Things have changed from 21 to 22. How have they changed for these 12 guys? Well, let's put little arrows by them and kind of figure out which way they're trending. For Alvin Kamara, he's definitely trending down. And why is that? There's a good chance that we could see an Alvin Kamara suspension this year. If that happens, dude is full of risk. So as of right now, depending on when you draft, if you're drafting Alvin Kamara, that is a super risky pick. So he's got to drop down a lot. Dalvin Cook, new offense, Kevin O'Connell in Minnesota, more high-powered, quicker pace. I actually love some Dalvin Cook, and I think he moves up this year. And when you look at the overall role, we could see him be a little bit more, quote-unquote, explosive than we've seen in years past in a slower Minnesota offense. Jonathan Taylor, not much has changed. Cordero Patterson, gotta say that he's trending down, right? They brought in Drake London. They have now Kyle Pitts in his second full season. It's not just Cordero Patterson getting all the looks this coming up year. So he'll be trending down. Zeke, not much changes for Zeke, really. Aaron Jones trending up. No Devontae Adams, Derrick Henry, a lot of the same. Josh Jacobs, overall offense as a whole, definitely trending up for Las Vegas and could give him a lot more touchdown opportunities. Christian McCaffrey seems back and healthy, so he's got to be going up. Melvin Gordon, not much has changed. Nick Chubb, definitely going up, especially if we have a Deshaun Watson suspension here anytime soon. I keep seeing people in the comment section say, I don't want no part of this offense if no Deshaun Watson is there because Jacoby Brissett is horrible. Wrong mindset for fantasy football. Yeah, Jacoby Brissett may not be some top 12 guy, but when it comes to the Browns offense, if he's their starting quarterback, Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt are going to see a ton of volume. And then followed by Najee Harris. Not too much should really change for him. So if we remove the guys here that are trending down, this is what we got. Now, what round are these guys being drafted in? Where can we find the best value? So here we go, broken down by round: first round, second round, third round, fourth round, and then eighth round, which is Melvin Gordon. So right off the bat, we know that 6 of these guys are first round picks. So that tells us that our metric is on pace for what it needs to be finding, right? Because it's finding guys that are going early for a reason. So who else is cheaper? Well, second round, we got Aaron Jones. Third round, we got Ezekiel Elliott. Fourth round, Josh Jacobs. Is it just me, or does Josh Jacobs keep popping up on all these shows that we keep doing? Something is all of a sudden telling me that Josh Jacobs probably needs a little bit more attention here. And then eighth round, Melvin Gordon. Not sexy, but similar role at a cheaper price here this year. Now, what about when we look at the overall standings? Any of these other guys trending up? Pretty sure Leonard Fournette is this year, right? A lot less targets in that offense overall, going out the door to Antonio Brown, Gronk. How about Chris Godwin to start the season? So Leonard Fournette can see a bump in usage. That makes him a little bit safer. Joe Mixon now running behind one of the best offensive lines in football. Rashad Penny starting the year as the overall starter in Seattle as of right now. Kareem Hunt, just talked about him when we talked about Nick Chubb and the Cleveland Browns offense. Tony Pollard. No more Amari Cooper. We got Michael Gallup coming off of a torn ACL. No more Cedric Wilson. We could see a whole lot of passing work going the way of Tony Pollard. And then J.K. Dobbins, obviously, if he's healthy, we see him back on the field again in an offense that runs more than any other team in the NFL potentially here this year, could be trending up as well. So when I want to talk about a few honorable mentions here, there's a few names out of that list that I'm going to bring up. Now, obviously, we know Joe Mixon kind of falls into that first round-ish category. Leonard Fournette, definitely a name you've heard me talk about here, and for the reasons listed once again in this video. Got that huge upside, but also has the safety built in with all the receptions as well. Same thing for Kareem Hunt, knowing that we don't really know what's going to happen with Deshaun Watson, and then Tony Pollard. 3 other guys that I want to make sure that I feel are going to move up into that safer category here this year. But it's always fun to do these types of things, right? We look at different metrics, we look at them in a different way, because everybody out there on YouTube is making content based off the same principles. But how can we display it to you in a different way to help it be a little bit more understandable? Plus, we're kind of creating tools as we go along. We're creating them together, right? I'm doing these with you because down below in the comment section, we are always reading those comments, and we get a lot of great ideas from you, the viewer, as well. Maybe you see things differently. Hey, Jake, maybe we should include this as well. We are open to comments like that, because together, if we can build a great tool, all of us are going to be the ones that benefit from it. And you're never going to hear any one of us up here on this channel say, oh, we're smarter than you are, you have to do things our way, or you're not good at this, because that's just not the way this game is played. So doing things like this is a lot of fun, and I look forward to talking to you guys down below in the comment section. Don't forget, we got the signed Dalvin Cook jersey right here. He's on our list of one of the safer guys, so make sure you take a look at Dalvin Cook, the new number 4 right here. Hit that like button, leave that comment down below, and make sure you have your free account signed up for on pristineauction.com. Link down below in the description. Had fun doing this today. Hopefully you enjoyed it as well. Hopefully you gained some information on some of these guys and just help you look at things a little bit differently, because that's what this is all about. But for now, hopefully you guys have a great rest of your day, a great week. We'll talk to you later.